This episode of GunBlog VarietyCast brought to you by lawofselfdefense.com. Go to lawofselfdefense.com/variety to learn about your state's self-defense laws. Sign up for one of their online or in-person seminars or buy the book Law of Self-Defense and get 10% off when you use the discount code VARIETY at checkout. That's lawofselfdefense.com/variety. Well, welcome to a very special edition of the GunBlog VarietyCast. This is going to be episode 34? Is that correct?
I have no idea.
I think it's 34.
I think you're right.
We're at the media office in the NRA convention, and with me today is Adam, of course. You've already heard him. But a great treat, we finally get to meet face-to-face the bratty kid sister of the gun blogosphere, Erin Paulette.
Hello, everyone.
We're all in the same room for the first time.
Yeah, you would not believe how close we are. We're all sitting around one microphone.
Get your hand off my thigh.
That's not my hand.
Is that a TDI knife, or are you just happy to see me?
Why, yes, it is.
Well, and on that note, I think I'm going to put my hands back where they belong.
Okay.
So, we've been having a really good time.
Oh, yeah, so we saw a couple of things on the floor.
Right, I guess that's like the big thing that you do at the NRA convention. It's what everybody expects. You go out and you look for guns that you might be interested in, gun-like stuff.
Yeah.
9 acres of gun goodness.
Yes. That floor is huge.
9 acres indoors, and we've seen, between you and me, Adam, we walked around together.
Maybe 10% of it.
Is it that? I would have said about 15 to maybe 20, but it probably was just 10.
There's a significant portion of the floor that we have not seen yet.
Right, and we walked around all day Friday. Yeah, wow.
15,000 steps is what my pedometer said.
Oh my goodness. And I walk 6 miles a day if I can do it with the dog, and I'm a little wore out.
Yeah, me too.
So, what did you see that struck you, Adam?
So, I got directed by a friend of mine, hey, go to the FN booth. They just released a 249 semi-auto. And so we saw that.
Squad automatic weapon, the M249?
Yes, that one. Squad automatic weapon, which is now a squad semi-automatic weapon. So it's going to be about $7,000, and it's basically an AR-15 that is unwieldy and doesn't really make any sense.
It's a $7,000 AR-15.
Well, yeah, but for $7,000, I could buy a lot of AR-15s.
For $7,000, I want a couple of really pretty girls to carry it around for me. I want them to fan me in combat.
Right.
Grapes.
Now, if I had $7,000 to blow, maybe I'd buy one.
I'm trying to imagine how many different things I would have to have spent money on already before I thought, well, that $7,000 can go to that.
Yeah, but I thought the Taurus Judge was an idiotic product, and
they
sold and sold and sold. Then Smith and Wesson copied them and sold and sold and sold.
Oh my goodness!
So what do we know?
Right, and apparently they intend to sell they're going to sell these like crazy. There's a lot of people who will run out and buy them. In a country of 315 million people, I guess we can't really be surprised they can find 10,000 people to spend $7,000 on a really expensive, very unwieldy AR-15, but what can we say?
Hey, if you want one, go buy one. I just have better things to spend my money on.
Right.
It's capitalism, baby.
That's true, and if you have $7,000, so much money that you can spend $7,000 on
a single gun.
On a single gun.
It probably doesn't matter.
I would like you to go to GoFundMe.com/GunBlog VarietyCast, GunBlog VarietyCast, and make a donation so that we can have better equipment.
And a Pilatus PC-12.
And a Pilatus PC-12 if we do get to the 20 million.
Manufactured with care in Switzerland.
It's true. Single engine turbo prop. The podcast amuses us probably far more than it amuses you.
Yes, yes. So the other thing that we saw, the Battle Arms Development booth, they had their Stormtrooper AR-15 rifle, which, Sean, tell me what you thought about that.
Okay, I looked at this on the internet, and I'm like, that is the geekiest, dorkiest thing I've ever seen. I'm like, are you serious? I mean, I totally get it, right? You've got paint. You can totally paint up a rifle to look like it's snow camo and, make your... I mean, that's cool. I mean, and I got my hands on it, I was like, that's actually pretty cool. I kind of like it.
Yeah, they were all wearing lab coats, and they had Stormtrooper rifles, or Stormtrooper headgear all around, cool. And a Boba Fett that had like a bullet hole shot through it. Yeah. Anyway, it was kind of neat.
I gotta tell you, it was the like not geeky thing I've ever seen. I was like, this is actually really cool. And they weren't just screwing around with like ordinary stuff and painting it up and like playing, dress up, were they?
Yeah, they had an SBR there that had their prototype stock that's a lot like the stock that goes on the Honey Badger. And I know Troy came out with one last year, which I think is just a rebranded one that's imported from Canada. This one uses their own special lower, and it also, you can use a standard bolt carrier group and a standard buffer tube with it. Mm-hmm. And that's a departure from the one that Troy makes, where you have to use a special special bolt carrier group because the buffer tube's a little shorter.
Yeah, I was really surprised at how ridiculously short that thing was.
Yeah, it's really, really short.
Like, too short to actually shoot. I mean, there's no way I could have put... you get it to its shortest position this is just the prototype, and they were telling us the next one's going to be like
an inch shorter.
An inch shorter. Well, when the prototype fully collapsed, you weren't shooting it as a rifle. You just couldn't unless you were...
Yeah,
I don't know.
The guy said
height challenged like I am?
No, Aaron.
No. It was much shorter. It was even shorter than that.
I'm talking like Cheyenne Roberts, who we met yesterday, would probably go, this is too short.
Yeah.
Cheyenne Roberts being what, 10?
Yeah, she's 10. She's been shooting for 5 years, the same amount of time that I've been shooting, and she's the sensei.
She's a pretty good shooter. Got to meet Dan, finally. I'm Facebook friends with Dan Roberts, so I get to talk to him occasionally, but finally got to meet him in person.
I ran into Chris Chang, really cool guy.
I guess. It is kind of weird to be sitting at a dinner and go, hey, Chris, as Chris Chang goes by, and Chris is like, hey, how's it going? Because he's like personable. He's not going to say, who the heck are you?
Mm-hmm. I finally got to meet JG. I haven't met.
Yeah, I got to talk to him on Squirrel Report before, but I got to meet him in person.
JG and his fearsome mustache.
Very fearsome mustache.
Yeah. He looks, for those of you who have not seen him in his suit, he does actually look quite professional. If we could convince him to stop carrying a backpack slung over his shoulder and messing up the drape of his suit coat, he cleans up nice.
Yeah, I like the t-shirt and a sport coat look.
Yeah. So tell me here, we went out to the Pita Pit yesterday, and the guy behind the counter and his partner behind the counter were like super nice. Like I've been to a counter restaurant. You go up to the counter, you tell them what you want, they make what you want, and this was like, it was like I was coming home to that, it was like my brother was cooking stuff for me. Hey, nice to see you again. Here, if he knew it, if he'd have known, if he could have read my mind, he would have just gave me what I wanted.
Yeah.
I mean, is this normal? Is this like the kind of service you usually get in this town?
Yes, and I was actually kind of confused as to why you were all like, wow, that was really good service. I was like, really? Because that's kind of normal here. Like, what kind of places you been going to?
And see, I'm from Raleigh, and we're not talking like, New York City or someplace that's famous for, kind of crappy service. I come from a place where people are nice. It's Southern nice in Raleigh. I mean, people are polite to you. But, wow, Knoxville, way to put your best foot forward there.
Nashville? Yeah.
I saw Knoxville on the way by.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Nashville. I've also noticed, if anybody listens to this podcast who happens to be single and male, and you have an opportunity to work in the Nashville area, and you're like, I don't want to live in country music central. Move. Come here. Take the opportunity. It's a nice place. Really nice.
We have some very good scenery here.
Yep. And everybody's just really nice. Which, honestly, it really counts for more than pretty, honestly.
Yeah. And the Pita Pit was on 2nd Avenue, which
right.
is just a couple of blocks from here, from where the convention center is.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, we had to walk that far because we had several places that were posted "No guns allowed. Welcome NRA."
We don't really want your money.
Well, that's what it said to me.
Yeah.
What it really it's like, we want your money. Keep your icky guns outside.
Yeah. The best thing was Tootsie's, which is kind of a world famous lounge place, right? So you go in there to listen to country music, and they had 2 guards out front making sure that nobody was carrying guns inside, and then on the rooftop they have a little cafe thing up there, and they had a great big banner that said "Welcome to NRA Country."
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, no, that doesn't really work.
No, that's not how this goes.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, it's your turn, Aaron. You got to talk now. Talk now. Come up with something.
Well, I had a very interesting experience when I got here early on Thursday. I called up my friend Oleg Volk, name dropping here. And
I was just thinking, I just called up my friend Oleg Volk.
my very good friend Oleg Volk. And he said, well, I'm busy right now. I can't meet you for lunch, but why don't you come to this location? I'm doing a shoot. And for people who don't know Oleg, the man has the ability to make fun appear out of nowhere. So I drive to this location, and it's this field out in the middle of nowhere, and it turns out there's a skeet shooting event going on. And so I walk up, and next thing I know, I'm getting a semi-auto shotgun pressed into my hand, and I'm being taught how to skeet shoot for the very first time. And I have no idea how to do it. I did pretty poorly, but just fun comes out of nowhere around him. And that was the same day where I met Cheyenne Roberts. Got a picture with her, too.
Is that where she was out skeet shooting? I saw that on Dan Roberts' Facebook. She was, like, her first chance doing some skeet shooting.
I didn't see her shooting, but they were shooting before I got there. By the time I got there, Oleg was taking pictures of all sorts of people, including her.
Okay. Yeah, I'd called my good friend Oleg Volk. I just want to push you out of your chair right now. But then you're Aaron and we're not.
Right.
There can be only one.
That's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been one of my favorite things about these things is the thing you don't think about. I mean, acres and acres of guns. Like, yes, must go look at guns. But what really is fun about this for me is not so much the guns. I've never really been a gear guy. I mean, I carry an XD. I'd be happier if I had a standard cop gun rather than a copy of a standard cop gun.
Right.
But I'm not really all that bent out of shape about the whole thing. So showing me a whole bunch of guns that I really can't afford, everything from that $7,000. There's probably much more expensive stuff than that, but the totally useless at $7,000 to me saw down to the latest whatever out of Glock. Oh, that's cool. I like to look at it. It's neat. I want to touch it and see how it feels, and maybe if I get a chance to shoot it sometime later, great. But what's really good about this for me is to get to see all of the people that I talk to online. I get to finally meet Aaron in person. I've obviously met Adam before, but get to see these people that are the community that I live in all the time, and get to talk to them and hang out with them, and it's a great big social experience. And we actually went to dinner last night.
Yeah, the three of us all went to a dinner that was put on by Lucky Gunner.
Lucky Gunner, thank you very much, Lucky Gunner.
Yes, thank you. And the guys.
LuckyGunner.com. They sell ammunition. Always check them first. A funny story, I'll get to that later. So what do we do at this dinner?
So Marcus Luttrell and Pete Scoble were introducing their new ammunition line. It's some frangible ammunition that's lead-free. They have a training version, and then they also have the standard personal defense version. It's
I still have my 50 rounds because I left 50. It in the bag. Yeah, shut up, Aaron. But it's Team Never Quit training ammo, and I'm holding it at the mic so that you guys can actually see it, as stupid as that is. I feel like Vanna White.
Right.
Dun, 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 dun.
But Team Never Quit, they gave me 50 rounds of 45 caliber training ammunition, which I believe is lead-free frangible, it says.
Semi-wad cutter.
Yeah.
155 grain frangible. lead free.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give that a try, see how that works.
And
for me.
don't the proceeds go to something charitable?
There is
So Marcus Luttrell is the guy from Lone Survivor.
Lone Survivor, yes.
Right. So he is that guy. And so they're donating 5 cents for every box to the Lone Survivor Foundation, which helps guys who come back and are having a little bit of a hard time readjusting to
Right.
life not on the team.
Yes, and he explained how it's a very team environment that they're used to, and it's not difficult to deal with the things they have to deal with as a team. What's difficult is when you separate and you no longer have that support system that you're used to working with.
The way he phrased it sounded like he was basically saying, when I left my team, I became an orphan.
Yeah.
That sounds like a pretty good description of what he was talking about.
And I understand that feeling because I was in the military, so when I separated, it was a little bit weird that I wasn't the things that I could reach out and touch were not the same anymore. The in jokes weren't there. The knowing where everything wasn't there, and you have to feel yourself into a new world. And that was really kind of where he was going with it. Is just like, we need to be available so that the transition is a whole lot easier. And it was something kind of funny that he said was, like, he does a lot of public speaking, and he likes coming to the NRA and, coming to the convention and gun things in general, because he says it's kind of like coming home to the people that he knows.
Right.
Because we all have something in common.
Yeah.
We all talk about guns. We're all interested in guns. We all have that one thing that we're doing together, and it's like what was where was he talking about?
He said he went to a banking conference and he gave his little speech that he always gives, and then he's like, what am I going to talk to these guys about? Like, I have no idea what they do all day.
Right. So for him, coming to the NRA convention is coming back to a group that he feels part of.
It's like a family reunion.
Exactly. And that's, in a lot of ways, that's what these events are for me. That's why the blogger shoots are so fun for us bloggers. That's why the Lucky Gunner shoot was so fun. I mean, great. We shot machine guns. They gave us ammo to shoot machine guns, right? Awesome. You know where we did? After we shot the machine guns for a little while, we all stood off to one side and shot each other's carry guns.
Yeah.
Because it was like, I want to shoot the Jennifer gun.
Right.
I want to shoot the tactical toaster. So I shot the tactical toaster. And yeah, I mean, that was what it was. Yeah. And that's what this is. And that's why this is so much more fun than wandering around looking at a bunch of guns.
Right.
I love you too, Sean.
Aww. So,
Adam, you're okay.
Well, thanks. So, I mean, there's a lot of people.
His beard is kind of scratchy.
So the Lucky Gunner shoot was about 5 years ago. I think it was 5 years ago.
I think it was. Wow, it doesn't feel that long, but it was.
And so, there's a lot of people here that I haven't seen in 5 years. But like Jennifer walked in this morning to the class that we attended, and I, gave her a big old hug.
Jennifer is in Jennifer's head. Jennifer.
Yes, and her
married
husband
to Michael Haast, who is
Evil Robot,
and we got to see Teen Bot finally.
Yes,
we've seen pictures of Teen Bot.
Cool.
Yeah, looks just like his mother.
Funny, I was looking at him and thought he
funny,
acted
I thought
like
he was
his
a
father.
boy.
Well, yes,
but I looked at him and went, he walks and talks just like his dad.
Yeah. So, and he's taller than both of them.
Well, it's honestly not that difficult.
Well,
it's not that difficult.
That's true. So that class was the shooter self-care class with ambulance driver.
Right.
And Law Dog gave a little symposium kind of there at the end. And so I had taken a gunshot wound care class before.
Right.
So I kind of knew what to expect. Sean, this was your first time to take that class.
Well, as a civilian, yes. I did take a combat lifesaver class when I was in the Army. Very, very, very intense. It was supposed to be a 5-day class, and it ended up being a 4-day class because we had vacation, and they compressed it. Well, it wasn't vacation. What do they call it?
Like a
4-day holidays. Like, the Army was famous for 4-day. Every weekend was there's at least one 4-day holiday a month. But you spend so much time in the field, it sort of balances out. But we had a 4-day weekend coming up, so they compressed this 40-hour class into like 30-some hours, and it was so intense that I woke up on Wednesday in the middle of the night, and they taught us the 3 life-threatening sounds: snoring, gurgling, and grunting. Snoring is the airways not closed, or the airways not open. Gurgling is there's blood in the airway, and grunting is a sucking chest wound, and that's what we were looking for. And I hear snoring, and I wake up, and I'm like, snoring, gurgling, grunting, snoring. Okay, the airway's not open. Head tilt, chin lift. And I reach up there, and I head tilt, chin lift my roommate, who is snoring in his bunk. So yeah, so I took that, but the technology has changed radically since I got out of the Army in 1994. So, the idea that they would just hand you a tourniquet and say, go forth and use it first, think about using direct pressure afterwards, on major wounds. I mean, like, that was unheard of.
Well, some of that has to do with advances in surgery as well.
And so, apparently some of it has a lot to do with advances in not trying to recreate the Crimean War.
Yes.
If somebody's going to spend 6 days with a tourniquet on him, that's one thing.
That's a different situation.
But when somebody's going to spend like 20 minutes between he got shot and now he's in a level 1 trauma center, this is a very different situation. Right. And the whole, CPR. CPR
is very different than it was even 3 years ago.
Like, just compressions only?
Yes.
Stand alive, stand alive.
Yeah. Apparently, singing "Another One Bites the Dust" to keep time.
Yes.
While you are doing chest compressions
Poor taste.
Is not considered right.
Although rhythmically it would be correct.
Yes. Yes. Apparently people get upset when you do this. I don't know why, but that's just the way it goes. But yeah, it was good class, good equipment, and ambulance driver's pretty funny. And Law Dog is both the same and different than you expect.
He's not as large as I thought he would be.
I thought Law Dog was like 6'40" and 287 pounds.
Yeah, and bald.
And like bullet headed.
Yeah. But
yeah.
No. Not at all.
Yeah. If you don't read the Law Dog files, you're wrong. Law Dog files, can you think of any Creed phrase? Well, I'll try to find some stuff and we'll talk about it another time. But
Pink Gorilla Suit.
Pink Gorilla Suit. Look up Pink Gorilla Suit. Read that story. Oh my goodness. Pink Gorilla Suit. I'll try to link that in the show notes, but oh my goodness. Dude is hilarious. Are you serious about self-defense? Do you carry a gun? Do you know the law? What good is defending your life with a gun if your own ignorance of the law means you will spend the rest of your life in a prison cell? Do you want to go home safe to your family or off to the chain gang? Go to lawofselfdefense.com/variety and sign up for one of Andrew Branca's Law of Self-Defense seminars. I've taken the in-person seminar and it was eye-opening. Like Mark Twain says, it ain't what you don't know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so. But Andrew of lawofselfdefense.com is ready to teach you the truth. What the law says, what the relevant legal rulings say, what the jury instructions say. Go to lawofselfdefense.com/variety and sign up now for a seminar, online or in person. Use discount code VARIETY at checkout and get 10% off everything. That's lawofselfdefense.com/variety and use discount code VARIETY at checkout. I guess the only thing that there's only two things that were strange about the NRA convention. Number one was something that happened on the floor.
Okay. We were at the Taurus booth, and there was a salesman who didn't display what I thought would be a good sales presence, because there were four of us. We were obviously wearing media badges. I had a t-shirt with my URL.com, so clearly we were bloggers. And this guy decides that he's going to go off for about 5-10 minutes. I walked away about how bloggers, specifically gun bloggers, don't know what they're talking about, and we're dumb, and this guy's supposed to sell product, and I'm really no longer interested in buying anything Taurus.
Well, in his defense, and I wasn't there for this, in his defense, we do have at least one direct example of somebody who got chucked out of the Smith and Wesson booth because he was that much of a, what's a good way to put this? Well, this is a family-friendly podcast, so we're totally not going to say words like that. But he had
jerk face.
Yes, maybe we'll go with that. But he had made such a some such stupid things, said such stupid things on the blog that when he showed up in the Smith and Wesson booth at the, well, that's another podcaster who keeps having some troubles.
Those are professionals.
Those are professionals. That's why he can get the really cool sounds out them.
Right.
But he had written some stupid stories, and when he shows up at the trade convention, not the NRA convention, but he goes to the SHOT Show, walks into the Smith and Wesson booth, and they're like, "We know you. Get out." Then he runs back to his computer and types in a story about how I got thrown out. Stopping to wave at Glenn Reynolds, Instapundit, as he walks by.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But see, there's a difference between your one specific blogger with a pattern of behavior we don't like versus, I don't even know who you are, but I'm going to start bad-mouthing, everyone in your industry.
Yeah. Taurus, stop that.
Mm-hmm.
We're not saying we should find a specific person and punish him and chuck him out on the street or anything, but, maybe you want to talk to your sales staff that maybe, directly telling your most rabid gun people out there, the people who live guns, who do this just for fun, and we like it so much, maybe they're not the people you need to be saying are idiots. Now, if you have some specific concerns about stuff we specifically have done, hey, let us know. We'll stop. Did you pick up the Taurus Curve?
I did.
I did. Not quite as dumb as I thought it was, but not really all that great either.
I mean, they're going to sell millions of them.
And
I don't know.
maybe they'll
I don't know
work,
about
and
millions, but they're going to sell a lot of them, and it's probably going to save, a dozen or so lives, and that's going to be great.
Right.
And I look at the Taurus Curve as, it's not like some $700 thing. I think MSRP is $499, $399.
Yeah, it's not very
like
expensive.
It's not very expensive, but that's going to be a good gateway gun.
Yep.
Right? Because some guy is going to buy it for his girlfriend, and she's going to take it out to the range, and after about the third time, she's going to go, "This is terrible. Get me a real gun."
And I think actually what will end up happening is she'll go out to the range and shoot it a couple of times, and some guy in the next booth over will like, "Oh, why don't you shoot this Glock 17? Oh, that's so big. I don't know about that." And she'll shoot him like, "Well, this is actually really nice."
Yeah.
And, we'll get a few people who end up, 20 years from now, we're going to have some, Jesse Duff, or, well, I guess Jesse Duff is a really good person to point to because she shoots for Taurus. We'll have a Jesse Duff who started out because, her husband or her dad or her boyfriend bought her a Curve, and she ends up with a Glock 17, and she's off to the races.
I think one of the really good things that may come out of this is people will say, "Here, buy this Taurus Curve, you woman," instead of, "Here, buy this Scandium 357 revolver."
Okay, yes, if you are male and you are so brain damaged that you think that all women need to have an airweight 44 Magnum revolver, okay, no, they really need the Curve instead.
Yes.
Get the Curve.
Get the Curve.
If you can't buy them a standard size 9mm, you've got to be, weird. You don't get them the Scandium frame thing. You don't get an airweight. No, please don't do that. Get them the Curve instead. And the other thing, there was one other thing that we thought was weird. Oh yeah, we had somebody acting kind of suspiciously on the Friday night. We're walking back to the car, Adam and I, and there's this guy who's just walking in the alley, and both of us are spidey senses are going off,
right,
like, we're not going anywhere there.
We saw him at least 200 yards out.
Right, and there was no way he was going to take two guys who were approximately the same size as him. It wasn't, unless he was really dumb, it wasn't going to happen. But it just really bothered us. We're like, that ain't right.
The thing that bothered me is that he was walking away from us, and then he stopped walking away from us.
Yes. Well, what was really funny about it, though, is that we kept our eyes on him. I had the flashlight. I shined him with the flashlight just to make it pretty clear that it was not. We needed to go away, right? Yeah. And we went and got in our car, and Adam dropped me off where the cops were, and I ran down and said, "Hey, look, this is what's going on. This is where this guy is." "Oh yeah, okay. Well, back there's a mission, so he's probably on his way to the homeless mission, and it's probably not really a big an issue." And I think I said something to the effect of, "Well, maybe this is not a good week. If he's actually dangerous, it's really not a good week. Maybe he could have had his own gun." And the cop says, "Yeah, but there's a whole lot of other guns out here on the street tonight." And I thought about it, and I'm like, "Yep, between Adam and I told the cop, I says, between me and my friend, we had 3 guns and a flashlight. I think we'd have been okay. But, we still kind of stayed away from that."
Yeah. Didn't get close enough for it to really be an issue.
Oh, that whole 21 feet. Yeah,
we never got that close.
He 21 yards, 31 yards, 41 yards. I mean, I don't care who he was. He wasn't getting to us before we had. we could have emptied our guns and started on your second.
That's right.
We totally we're not.
Which is
stupid.
a single stack 9mm, by the way.
Right, but that's your backup, right?
That is my backup.
Well, that's fine.
Right.
It's a backup.
So one final story before we go. I want to tell you guys about the ultimate illustration in how Aaron is a prepper. so last night at the Marcus Luttrell dinner, we're sitting there, and Awelowent, who some of you may know, said something about, my cell phone's dying. And so Aaron pulls out of her pocket a pocket-sized USB recharger backup battery thing, right? And he's like, I don't have my cable. And so then she pulls out an iPhone cable. Out of her pocket. Like, come on. I mean,
seriously?
Like Sean, you had one in your backpack, but
right.
It was in your backpack.
Well, it wasn't actually in my backpack. It was in my computer bag because my big battery, lives in my computer bag. And since I had my computer here so that we could podcast, that was the only reason I had it.
Right.
Right? If I hadn't, then my little battery, like
but
the one
you
Aaron
didn't have
had.
a bag at all.
No.
Right? You were just walking.
No, this is my everyday carry.
Yeah, you've got it on you right now.
Yeah. Well, like I told Sean, if we're comparing bags and I had my get-home bag, that'd be a completely different conversation.
That's true. That's true. All right, well, we've blithered on for almost 30 minutes. Thank you for listening to the GunBlog VarietyCast. We think this is episode 34. I'm not really sure.
I believe it is.
Yep, okay. Well, thanks for listening to GunBlog VarietyCast. That's our show for the week. Thanks to Rob Allen for our music. Boy, I'm messing this all up. You know what? I'm not even going to edit it. I'll noise gate it and compress it, but I don't think I'm going to edit much. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.